Do you anticipate that at some point we might be, it may be unable, the government may be unable to sustain this? Should we anticipate serious austerity measures if at all you continue this trajectory, but forced austerity?
Thank you, Fred. I want to agree with you that it is becoming unbearable because I think we've always had budget deficits year in, year out. And that is exactly why, if you look at our public debt, it has been growing. Because when you have a deficit, you have no option. You've got to go to the market and borrow. Currently, our borrowing is in the region of 12.8 trillion. So you can imagine what is going to happen in the next few years if we continue with this trajectory. And we've also seen that even after flexing our muscles, our collections are still very low compared to the estimates that we are getting. Then you realize that the logical thing to do is actually check on our expenditure. And for the longest time, I think as a country, we've had conversations on revenue collection. We hardly have conversations on the expenditure bit. There was talk of doing a zero-based budget, you know, where you go in, open up the budget figures, look at programs. So you say, if it is this particular ministry, what are the programs that you are going to run here? Allocate funds per program, per activity. But I think we've never really actualized it. We're still continuously looking at if it's the education sector, how much did we give them last year? Then the ministry will justify why they need more, add. And because no one will say that we now need less this year. They will forever want more and more and more. So for as long as we're just adding on to the previous budgets, our budgets will continue going up. For me as a citizen, the call is to actually do a zero-based budgeting, at least for one season, then we can continue from there. Because with the current trend, there is, it's common knowledge that the inefficiencies that have been built into the system for a long time. And that is why you see we now have 4.8, probably next year we'll be having 5 trillion. And our collection will still remain, because out of the 3.6 that we expect to collect, I think from taxes, ordinary revenue is 2.9. Again, let's also say that 2.9 is projected. If the business and the economy doesn't grow as expected, we may actually not collect that 2.9, meaning that our deficit may end up being higher than the 1.1. So I agree with you that we really, really have to rein on the expenditure bit. We've got to be very intentional on this.
Yes. In your own estimation, do you think that the window for self-imposed austerity measures is closing? That if at all we are to probably, in a whatever period we are to conduct any austerity, it will be forced? Not out of choice.
You see, I think, unfortunately, some of these things can only work depending on the tone from the top. And we really don't have to wait until we are forced to do it. We should be able to read the signs of the time. We should be able to say, if we continue this way, we're going to leave the country in a very bad shape, so that we are then able now to take deliberate actions. My brother here, CPA Kamwere, has just spoken about the report that was issued by the Controller of Budget yesterday, where she told us that we spent 200 billion, I think since January, in unplanned expenditure. Of particular interest, I think, was a 4.5 billion figure there for State House. In fact, she went further to say, out of the 4.5, about 2.5 billion of that amount was spent within 6 weeks. So clearly, when we talk about the austerity measures, talking about the tone from the top, you realize that the tone is a little bit different. And until we're very deliberate, especially from those kind of offices, we still have a long way to go.
All right. But if you look at the papers, one of them talks about Ruto's elections budget.